Welcome to the Finding the Magic podcast, where books come alive. I'm Trisha Copeland, a fiction author and host of this show. If you love books, finding great reads, and hearing about the story behind the story directly from the authors, this is the place for you. Whether you like fantasy, science fiction, dystopian, or romance titles, I think you'll find something to love in my playlist. Listen in to discover something magical about a book or two today.
Welcome to the Finding the Magic book podcast. This is a special episode here with me, Trisha Copeland, as my pen name, Maria Jane, the editor of Perfect, the relaunch book, Tia Bach.
Hello.
Tia Silverthorne Bach, I guess I should say,
Exactly.
right? Tia Silverthorne Bach, Joe Michaels, and Tia and Joe are both with Indie Books Gone Wild. Joe Michaels is now my editor for the new Perfect series books, also of Indie Books Gone Wild. Hi, Joe.
Hello.
And then Amy Ravichandran, who is the, what should I say, marketer extraordinaire.
I like that title. Yeah, I'll take it. I like it.
Awesome. So this is a special episode of Finding the Magic because it's here with me, Tia, Joe, Amy, for the re-release of Perfect, which was released, I think, in 2017. I'd have to check my facts. Maybe that sounds right.
That sounds about right. It was pre-COVID. For
It was definitely, that was way pre-COVID. And I started out this book, and I think I told you I wanted to write a romance, but not like a traditional romance. And I had a hard time figuring out what a non-traditional romance would look like. And I came up with this weird thing that's 5 parts, different, I guess, alternate endings, not really ending. I mean, they are alternate possibilities. I like that for Chloe, who is the main character, as she progresses from her college years into, I guess, 20s, and eventually she's 30 at the end of the book. So, did you think I was crazy?
No. Well, we're all a little crazy.
So, Joe, did you read the book yet? Have you reread it since you reformatted it?
Yes, I have. I like the ambiguity of the ending. That was, you can kind of make up your mind, like, oh, who did she end up with?
Well, the funny thing was, like, I say it's a choose your own ending book, but I don't know, a lot of readers like me, sometimes I don't read the back of a book or a book description. I pick it up because somebody told me to, or because it's an author I like. And so a lot of people are confused when they start the book, number one. But some people say, oh, she ended up with the last guy, of course. And then some people are like, no, she ended up with who you wanted her to end up with. So it's really interesting that people had those different views.
Yeah, I like that. I like that I could choose who she ended up with.
That
One of
was
the
my
thing,
take,
one of the things
definitely.
you did in one of your books, I don't know if it was this one or the next one, but where I think it was this one where she's in Isaac's apartment, I think, and she slams the cabinet, and it's one of those soft close cabinets. And she says, that's so not satisfying. That has stuck with me since I read it. Like, I always think, like, yeah, that is so true.
That would not be satisfying, right?
You're like, duh, and it's like, eh. Damn it. Yeah.
Get a real door here.
Right.
If I'm going to be mad at someone, I need a real door.
Yeah. Got to be able to
Yeah.
slam that door.
And
I
he
know.
definitely deserved it. We won't give too much away. I'm not sure if that happened in this book. I think it might be imperfect always.
It was great though. That was the perfect scene where she tries to slam the door and she's like, oh, and it just makes her madder.
It's true though. Nothing makes you more mad than you're going to slam something and it doesn't slam it, like the drawer, the kitchen cabinet. Yeah, I'd have to walk to a door. And then even then it just isn't as satisfying because it wasn't in the moment when you were super pissed and now you're just like, well, the moment's gone. I got to reamp this moment. So I like it when they're relatable like that. When you're just like, dang, that's happened to me. But I like the ending how you can kind of pick who she ends up with. I don't get to read a lot of books like that. You know, it's always like this is who it is, or it's like dark off the deep end. You just imagine it was puppies and rainbows, you know. So I like having it like where you can kind of pick, or you know, it's fun to have those kind of debates and conversations as a reader to be like, oh well, this is who I think they're like she ended up with, and it's like no, that wasn't it. So I have a question for you. How was it writing something like that? Because I feel like that would be incredibly difficult to write.
It was a lot of fun for me. Like I did have like trouble coming up with the scenarios that felt real to get her to make, that force her to make a different decision, to force the book to go into a different part, I guess. So the premise of the book it's five different parts, and based on things that happen in her life or choices that she makes, whatever choice she makes, she gets riveted into the next part where that leads her to a different place, I guess, to a different scenario. Coming up with those and making them believable and real was kind of one of the hardest parts. So I remember thinking in the third part when she's in Paris, I'm like, what would make her change her mind not to stay in Paris? And so that was kind of hard for me.
Well, we live a mile apart, and so a lot of this was talked through on walks and things, because what's more fun, right, than two people who love reading and books and everything about it, getting to like say, what about this? What about that? And oh, I like that, and that would be fun. And so I think getting to bounce off and be a part of it that way was fun for me.
We did talk about, I think that's this book, we talked about that more than
Yeah.
any of the other books I did, really, I think. Yeah, because it was harder to figure out like what was going to happen and who was going to send her into what other choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. See, this is why you're the writer and I'm just the marketing person. I don't know, I'm not creative like that. So I like to read it and then just hear kind of like the story behind it. Because I don't know, I feel like for me it changes it. Like when I go back and I reread it, I'm gonna kind of have like, oh, I wonder like what day of a walk that this was and that this idea came out. I don't know. I'm weird like that though. Like I like to know behind the story kind of thing. I don't know. I like to place people in it. So that's cool. I haven't heard that before, like walking and bouncing ideas in terms of like writing writing a book. So I love it. I love it.
Yeah, we have fun doing that.
Yeah, no, it is fun.
Yeah, because we can work things out.
Well, and it made me torn though because I heard both sides and some things that didn't make the book. So, I had a harder time picking who I thought she should end up with.
So you got the full story.
Yeah.
That's what you got. You got the full story that the
Behind the
rest of us
scenes.
want.
And I was even torn most of the time. Like I liked all the characters, so yeah.
But to me, that's a good book, is the one where you can't decide. The one there's part of this guy that you like and part of this guy that there actually isn't a perfect.
Yeah.
Or there is for you, but somebody else's perfect looks different. So I thought that was really, really fun about this book, was trying to decide who your perfect was, but was that her perfect? And
Yeah.
who's perfect? I don't know, but it's fun.
Yeah, that was really the premise of me thinking that, and even for different people, there might be different perfect matches, but even for you, depending on where you are in your life or what choices you make, it kind of dictates what person might be a better fit for you, I guess.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to show too, like I have some younger friends and I can remember being that age too, where like something happens and it spins you off into a different direction that you didn't expect. And then you feel like, oh, are things ever going to work out? So I wanted to kind of show that hope of, even though things go sideways, things work out. Yeah.
But that's life, right? That really depicts more of life, because life is not a straight path. It's many forks in the road. So I thought that was nice about this book. I like that she kind of, it explores all potential paths of her life, basically.
Yeah, and I think for me too, when I was young, I was really naive. You know that. I'm still pretty naive. Anyway, and I thought things were just going to go sailing along in a straight path. And then when they didn't, it was even like worse for me, I think. not worse for me than other people, but like it really like it's like, wow, okay, well, let's pivot now. So yeah.
I think it's a good reminder for readers too that no romance doesn't have a little hiccup, blip, whatever. And so it's just a nice, even if you end up with your soulmate, I guarantee something happened along the lines that made you think, wait, is this what I really want? And so I think she really did a great job of humanizing that and making it so that whoever picks it up will have some part of them in the story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
a good point.
how many romance genres can you fit in one book, right? And the funny thing is, my original idea for the follow-ups, so Perfect Always is the follow-up to Perfect, and it gives like Chloe's whole story. I think I told you this one time, and you were like, "You are crazy," and I was crazy in the end because I didn't do it. But I was going to try to do like a whole novel with each of the 5 different characters, each of the love interest. And then after I got finished with the first one, I was like, "Oh, I can't undo that one now." It was like it would be too hard to undo what I did. So, yeah. That's when I branched off into her friends.
Yes.
I like her friends. I think they're cool too.
It was a good thing they were there, right?
Yeah. I would like to see more of the French girls though. The girls
Oh,
she met
that's
in
right.
Paris. Yeah. I haven't really seen those in the other books. So
I was just thinking about that the other day. Like I haven't brought them back into the stories, but she knew
mm,
them when she was older. Well, she met them obviously in college, I guess, but then she becomes better friends with them when she's older. So, yeah, I have to go back to them.
yeah, I like them. I think they were unique in their own superficial ways.
Well, and not to cliche it, but they were in fashion school, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I did cliche that part a little bit.
Perfect clothing. I don't know. Perfect dress up.
Which anyone who knows me knows that is not me. She had to get me not to wear black, so although it does look black, doesn't it? It is green.
I
That's
also think
funny.
it's such a part of any path or journey that we take. I think all of us would agree that women are such a important part of our life and strong women and I think that's shown in this book too. It's not just about the romance, it's about those friendships. It's about being strong and still making mistakes and figuring it out. And I think it's vulnerable, but also really encouraging.
Yeah, I was talking about the book on a different podcast this morning, and she kind of said, "Oh, well," and I said, "No, I can't do a fluff romance. It really has to be about more about the characters finding themselves and not only finding their perfect partner, but their perfect place where they feel most, I guess, fulfilled." Yeah. And that never looks perfect, which is kind of the irony of the title.
I think that's relatable though, because I feel like, I mean, I don't know. Man, I forgot my age. I'm okay. I'll be 34 this year. I had to count from when I was born. It took me a minute. But I think it's relatable because I think in all romances that you have, like in life, like friendships or like intimate relationships, I feel like you have to really kind of be like firm in who you are and know who you are in order to like give the love that you're going to receive back. And I feel like it's relatable in that sense, which is lacking in like, some other like romance areas. But I feel like a book that kind of has that is more of like a realistic book, which I feel like is what more people are wanting. It's what I'm wanting. I like to read those where I'm like, I've totally probably done something like this. And then it makes you cringe because you think back to that memory and you're just like, oh my God, I've done that. Yeah. I like stories like that.
Yeah, I have to like take from my stupid mistakes a lot of times.
Well, they might as well serve some purpose beyond just the mistake.
That's true.
So there's that.
This is true. Boy, if we all wrote about our teenage years, huh?
Oh.
Oh no. Mm-mm. No, I don't want to relive those, so I definitely don't want to read it. I'll live through other people in doing that.
Yeah,
No,
for mine was like my early 20s. My nickname was Crash. So yeah, there's many stories there.
that's a good nickname though. That's a good nickname.
Don't want to go back there.
Was your best friend Bern? Gosh,
That's a story, Joe. I feel like that's a story right there.
A coworker gave me that name, but yeah, and he did have orange hair, so he could have been called Vern.
That's
Yeah.
perfect.
that's too good. I love it. Craft a Bern.
I did set him up with his future wife, so I was good for something in that in that relationship. So points for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this book is a re-release, so if you read it the first time, it is the same book. Unfortunately, it has a beautiful new cover from Daryl McCool of Damn Cool Graphics. But now we have all the whole series under Maria Jane, which I adopted halfway through the series. I think when you started on the first Maria Jane book, right, Joe?
Yes.
Right, because that was as close to perfect.
Yeah.
When I had my freak out moment when Tia said, I'm not editing anymore.
I just take a break, but I still felt like I was always part of the process though, because we still talked about them on the walks and we still chatted about the characters because we bring that's part of being a writer is you bring them to life. So I needed to know what was happening to them.
Yeah, you got behind the scenes access that
That's
the
right.
readers didn't get.
Couldn't lose that. I still had to know what
No.
was happening.
She was there from the beginning, and yeah, because all the friends from the series were in that first book. So yeah.
The cool thing though is I think you could reread this book 2 years later, 3 years later, and maybe change your mind. I don't know.
Sure.
I think it really depends on where you're coming from. And I hate to lean too far into the mystique of women's moods, but we do have them. And, you could read it again and think, no, you know what? This time I think it's the other guy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, because we have the guy from Kentucky, and then
Adam,
Isaac from Chicago, who's the
basketball player.
basketball player, and then Chase in France, and then Mason is the last one. Oh my goodness.
Nope. You left out Liam.
Liam, thank you. That's what I was forgetting. Liam, the accountant. He was such a cutie. And maybe I like him because she met him at work and I met my husband at work. So maybe that's it.
Well, maybe we all need the guy that's a little bit of Liam and a little bit of Mason and a little bit. Who knows?
Right.
I like Adam. I think because he appears in another book later than in his first farm.
I could live on a horse farm too. Yeah, that would be nice. My
It just
most
sounds
recent
like a
thought
cutie.
has been, the Netflix, how they had the reality shows on Netflix, like Love is Blind, and then they have the little
Yes.
games.
Mhm.
I would love this book to be like a Netflix game. If I only knew how to create one of those games, I feel like this would be perfect.
Have all the guys competing and the ladies too. Well,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I need to play the game actually to
Yeah.
figure out how the game works.
That might go into a different genre if you got them all of a sudden, gaming up. Maybe then they have powers. So we're now.
That's fantasy, Tia.
I know. Sorry.
She can't help herself.
Yeah.
Being a superhero. Going to magical realism, right?
Exactly.
Well, somebody told me, I told them, it was another author. I told them the premise of the book, and they said, oh, it's like speculative romance instead of speculative fiction or literature or whatever. And I was like, oh, maybe you think so?
Yeah, I can pull that off. Yeah.
I don't know the definition of speculative fiction.
Well, I just think of it like the book Husbands I read recently, and she goes up in the attic, and every time she comes back down to a different husband. It's a little bit of that.
But it's no magic.
Not really magic, just the idea of,
Yeah.
I don't know what the source of it is, but I have one husband's enough.
Yeah, but then, if you get mad or they didn't take the trash out, you could go up in the attic and come back out and you got like a new one. And
That's
so it's
true,
like,
yeah.
I don't know, maybe I can break this one in and then they'll do it right. And then when you get mad at that one, you can go up and get a new one. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of playing with the concept now. Like,
Yeah,
now
there
it's
you
like,
go.
I don't know. I like that one. That's a good one.
Like a generative AI husband.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
He learns
Exactly.
generatively.
Yep,
Oh,
from every
Lord.
mistake, he just gets better.
Joe, you're like,
But is the new husband pre-trained with everything you trained the husbands before with, except for that one thing that maybe is the trash?
Oh, that would be that's the better plan there instead of
Yeah.
starting over every time. Yeah.
Yeah, you just get the one flaw fix. Okay, I'll be back in a minute, sweetie. I'm going to the attic.
that's the learning model for your boyfriend slash husband, right?
But let's be fair. Would it be any fun if we had the perfect man? We need those little flaws to keep us on our toes.
Speak for yourself. Oh, yeah, speak for yourself. Oh.
Joe's just picking the perfect one from the beginning.
Right.
I think he's standing there looking at her, giving her the side eye.
Oh, my husband is nowhere to be found right now. He is on the other side of the house with the door shut. He's over there. He's gone. No. In the morning, we pretty much separate. He goes to his half of the house. I stay in my half of the house, and it's all good. It's the best kind of marriage ever.
So I have to ask Amy, I'll put you on the spot. When you read the book, did you know it was an alternate ending first, choose your own ending?
I didn't know.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah, I don't know. So my typical romance genre is very dark, almost like pitch black. So when I read yours, it was very refreshing and it was nice because I didn't know that that was coming. And so I was like, oh man, like I don't know what to do because I get to pick and I don't know what the right answer is. Like I don't know. You got to kind of tell me. So I find that it's refreshing. But I mean, again, I read really dark stuff. So it was very refreshing for me personally.
Yeah, because even my beta readers, some of them came back and said, I think you have some problems in your book. I'm like, just keep reading. So usually by the third part, they're like, oh, okay, I get it now.
Yeah,
I think that's the only thing hard.
Yeah.
Hard
it's refreshing though, because like I don't know, like I have to read a lot, right, for work and stuff, but it's refreshing when you read and you can't kind of fill the holes that are there, or you can't kind of predict the ending. I don't know. It just makes me more excited where I'm like, well, okay, well, there goes my entire day of everything else I had planned because I need to know what happens. And then you get behind on everything else, like laundry's my kryptonite. And I'm like, oh, I'm just reading a book. So I don't know. It's refreshing when you can get lost in it and you can't pinpoint an ending until you get to the end and you're like, wait, but I don't know which one. I need you to tell me the answer. Like, then it's like, I need the answer. So. But it's fun to have those kind of conversations because everyone's thinking kind of a different way. And then when you have someone that thinks like-minded like you're like, okay, we're buddies now because we liked the same guy. All right, I like it. So I don't get to read those often. It was nice.
Oh, fun. Thank you. But I mean, who has a better job that you have to read? So all you have to say is, honey, I have to read this book.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Right. And then, I don't know. So my husband always says that there's something wrong with me. That's like this staple in my house that whenever something happens that comes out of my mouth, there's something wrong with me. Cause my palate cleansers or my refreshing ones are like my dark romance ones. Cause it's like, I don't know. I don't know if this stuff really happens. I'm choosing to believe none of it really happens, but it's like a palate cleanser. And then I dive into a fantasy world that I am trying to get my head wrapped around and I'm like trying to figure out and then makes my brain hurt. So the dark ones, I don't know why, but it's relaxing. So when I read yours, I was like, okay, I don't know the ending. This is nice. Okay. It takes me back to when I was like in my 20s. This is lovely. So it's great. So, but yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily take my word for it because evidently there's something wrong with me. So
So she should market it as like a youth injection. That's basically.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. It made me feel younger. It was great. It was great.
You and Joe would be right on the same page, I think, with the dark, right, Joe?
I plead the fifth.
I think
Yeah,
Joe writes some dark psychologicals.
mine are
Yeah.
thrillers, mine are thrillers. So it's very different from dark romance. I can name probably 15 dark romance authors though, right off the top of my head, just because
Yeah.
I run in the dark circles. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Well, I feel like some of them are like dark thriller writers too. Like I feel like a lot of the dark romances have a lot of like thriller aspects because they are like so dark in and of it, which I don't know, maybe that's why I've been on this kick for like mafia and like shapeshifters, which like I haven't really read like a whole lot of those. The mafia ones, yes, like, but I don't know. I've been reading some like really unhinged ones, and so everything on my feed now is like, if you like this, then you'll like these six unhinged ones, and I don't know why that's appealing to me, but it is. So yeah, but the thriller ones I get, like those can keep me up at night. The dark thriller ones, yeah, they're worse than Stephen King books for me. Some of them, they're intense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't do
I
horror,
like
and I
some of them.
finally figured out why this morning. Like I was talking to another author, and he was describing genres based on like personalities of people that are drawn to those genres. And he said horror is dissettling, it's the unknown. So if you're not comfortable with the unknown, you usually don't like horrors. And I'm like, that is me. I don't like not knowing something, so I don't like horror. So that's really the only genre I don't think I'll write in.
Well, and I have three daughters in their 20s, so I don't like dark because I have daughters going through that right now, and so I
Yeah.
prefer to think of everything as butterflies and rainbows. But
Butterflies and rainbows.
so
She is the rose-colored glasses lady.
I
Yeah,
like it.
I
I
seem to be
like
that
it.
way too, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I can read the dark right now because mine are 5 and 6. So it's like
okay,
I can
yeah.
read that because I'm living freaking puppies, glitters, and rainbows. I mean, this closet behind me is full of like wall-to-wall glitter and crafting stuff. But yeah, I feel like when they get older, when like I feel like a lot of these things could actually really happen, I'm probably gonna have to read like, I don't know, like a puppies and rainbow happy book. So I get it.
This has been super fun. Why don't we'll go around the circle? Everybody can tell where we can find you if we want to find you. Joe, you want to start?
Okay. I guess. Indie Books Gone Wild, abgw.net. I am an editor and a book formatter and artist. I make your books really pretty. So if you want your book to be really pretty, I can make your book really pretty. And I just learned how to do the artwork for sprayed edges. So that's super fun. There's a couple of companies that do them, but I just figured out how to make the files to make sprayed edges. So that's going to be a new branch. I'm also a writer. You can find me at writejoemichaels.com. It's WRITE. If you see the right, you got the right one. Yeah, no, I'm so creepy. Anyway, so everywhere on all social media, I'm right Joe Michaels. It doesn't matter which platform you're on. If you type in right Joe Michaels, I pop up. So it's me. Even if I never use the platform, I sign up for it and I claim my name. So it's always me. Gosh, yeah, and my art shop got closed down, so I'm gonna have to take all that to my regular website, but that's another story. But anyway, yeah, artist, formatter, editor.
Extraordinaire.
That book is so pretty. I mean, it's really one of my nicer ones.
Amy, why don't you go?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so abundantlysocial.com is where you can find out everything that I do in terms of marketing. I like to say I'm like a book reader enthusiast. I like to read indie and small press published books. And yeah, I mean, I'm everywhere. Literally just type in. You could type in my name if you want to try to spell my last name, or you could just type in Abundantly Social. They're both going to pop up and they'll lead you back to Amy Ravichandran anyways. So, but yeah, you can go and follow me. I like talking with people on there. You'll see my daughters on there and probably a lot of my Starbucks pictures. So just don't judge me for it. Okay. It's my one addiction besides books and I own it. So that's it. Yeah.
I think a lot of us are like that.
Yeah, I will never judge you for a Starbucks addiction.
Oh,
I'll tell
okay,
you that right
good.
now.
Oh, good. Because my husband all the time, he's like, that's like $5. And I'm like, and that's 5 more minutes. I'm going to be nice to you. So let me have it. Like, just let me have it.
Well, the pup cups are free, so we go there a lot.
Oh, and I'm Tia Bach. Joe and I have been partners in crime for Indie Books Gone Wild for 10 plus years, Joe.
Since 2013-ish, yeah.
Oh, so, yeah. So, and we've also written books together. So we've co-authored some novels together. And I'm Tia Bach, author, kind of across all the platforms. And of course, Indie Books Gone Wild. And then I took a little break from writing to work with high school students on their college essays because getting into college has become intense. So I love helping high school students learn to write and stay away from AI and get them to love to actually try to write it and not just lean into all the available sources that could write it for them. So, but yes, so that's me.
Yes, my beautiful editor, beautiful former. Thank you, Amy. Thank you all for being here. And Perfect is now online with Maria Jane. Thank you. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Finding the Magic podcast. I'm your host, author and podcaster Tricia Copeland, and I love getting behind the scenes. If you like the podcast, make sure to subscribe and stop in each week to discover new authors and books. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep finding the magic.